on Channel 4, the local station. This is the Georgia-Florida Border Classic, presented by Baker Sports.
And we welcome you back to Glenn County Stadium for the Georgia-Florida Border Classic. Game 2 of Saturday's action, Game 6 of 7 overall in the Border Classic. Features the Coffee Trojans and the Yellow Jackets of St. Augustine High School. After things got underway on Thursday in the rain, McIntosh County a 42-8 victory over West Nassau. And then Glenn Academy hanging on, Creekside coming back to beat Glenn Academy 21-20 in a game that was raining from the outset. And a tremendous performance by the ground game of Creekside. Then yesterday, University Christian with a dominating performance against Charlton County for the first ever win by UC over Charlton County. It's the only matchup in this 7-game matchup that includes some history. Then Bulls falling to Brunswick last night. Earlier today, you just saw Fitzgerald knock off Madison County 20-12. And you see what the rest of the games are this afternoon and this evening. Those are the games that Joe Zelenka and I will be calling here on Channel 4, and we welcome you here up into the broadcast booth. Joe, this has been quite a celebration of high school football and a very balanced matchup. You talk about the Georgia teams against the Florida teams so far. Georgia 3, Florida 2.
You know, Cole, this is an age-old argument. This happens on Thanksgiving dinners. You get people together in parking lots for tailgates. It's always who's better at high school football, Georgia or Florida. Well, here we are. It's the grudge match. We get to watch these teams match up. They took some great teams from Georgia. We got some great teams up from Florida, and they get to go out and battle. You know, I mean, people are always arguing, what's better, peaches or oranges, Gators or Bulldogs? Like, we get to find out right here, right now. This is a lot of fun.
All right, well, let's take a look at our News 4 Jax Super 10 poll coming into this weekend. Trinity Christian, number 1. Bulls, as you saw, number 2. This is the only team, the Bulldogs, that lost in the top 10, losing last night. Bartram Trail, with a victory, they will likely rise in the rankings, as will Fleming Island. Creekside, at number 5, undefeated. Sean McIntyre mentioning to me last week when I saw him that he didn't feel like they were in a position where they had to rebuild now at Creekside, but reload after one of their best seasons ever last year.
You know, Cole, that's the new thing in football now. It's not rebuilding, it's reloading. But if you look at these teams up here, I mean, this is the upper echelon of Jacksonville football, and there are some great programs that just we see year after year after year. The Bulls, the Creeksides, the Bartrams. I mean, they always seem to be up there.
Baker County we'll see a little bit later on this afternoon, this evening as well, as they play in the night game against Richmond Hill. There is a look at some of the fans from Coffee who have made the trek over with a first-year head coach with a lot of experience. We'll talk about him in just a bit in Mike Coe, but a guy who certainly knows both sides of this rivalry. Take a look at some of the rankings for the Georgia schools. Charlton County, number 3 in 1A Division II. Fitzgerald, the number 1 team in 2A. They got up with a victory earlier. Brunswick, number 6 in 6A with a victory. And then Coffee in the 5A classification, number 8 ranked in the state of Florida. And there is Mike Coe, who took Madison County to 4 state titles in 5 years. And he was the coach at Madison County when he agreed to play in this event for Madison County. Then he got the job replacing Robbie Pruitt, who had 4 10-win seasons. And here we are with Mike Coe coaching in Coffee. He told me this week that he was so happy that he was still able to play in this event after he thought he wouldn't be able to when he took the job with Coffee. But in a first-year program, one of the things he has to do, something that Doug Peterson has had to do with the Jaguars and Billy Napier at Florida, earn the trust of his team, Joe. From a guy who played for several coaches at the professional level, the college level, how can a coach come in and start earning trust in year one?
Well, you know, the first thing is you come in with a ton of enthusiasm. You come in with a love and a passion for the game. You make it exciting for these players again, number one. And then number two, you take out all the gray areas. You go black, you go white. You make sure that these boys know exactly what is expected of them, how they're supposed to play, down in and down out, and you coach hard, and you have a lot of fun.
All right, we'll have a closer look at the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets when we come back. It is the Georgia-Florida Border Classic right here on Channel 4.
It's Saturday, and it's time to hit it up between the bricks. Once again, welcome everyone again to the first ever Under Armour Border Classic here between the bricks of Glenn County Stadium. Our second matchup of this Saturday afternoon triple header features the Trojans of Coffee County and the Yellow Jackets of St. Augustine. Captains for both teams. First, for Coffee, the visiting team on the scoreboard. Number 4, Larry Daniel. Number 6, Jakeem Williams. Number 12, Billy Simpson. And number 54, Dane Risch. For St. Augustine, number 1, Pablo Rivera. Number 9, Sean Hartley. Number 34, Michael Colliner. And number 62, Aiden Blanco. St. Augustine won the toss and deferred to the second half. Coffee will receive the open kick and defend the north end zone here between the bricks.
And welcome back to Brunswick as we are getting closer to kickoff in just about 5 minutes or so between the Coffee Trojans and the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets. Cole Pepper and Joe Zelenka here in the booth for the call of this one, and then tonight's game between Baker County and Richmond Hill as well. Let's talk a little bit about St. Augustine, a team that comes in 1-1, a loss to Bulls in the opener. And then Brian Braddock's team bounced back to whip up on St. Pete Gibbs 48-12 in the second game. In speaking with Braddock earlier this week, he said he was sort of neutral on where his team was right now, still waiting for them to develop their personality. It's a young team, Joe, and winning a game like this and doing it in their style would certainly go a long way to developing this team personality.
You know, St. Augustine is a school that is steeped in football history. Here in Jacksonville, you've got Joey Wiles, state championships. And of course, Brian played for Joey back in the day. And Coach told us he has a young team, a very young team. A lot of sophomores playing, but a lot of skilled players. And he's excited to see what they can do against this juggernaut that is Coffee County, because this team can play, Cole. They are grown men out there. They've got it going on. Coach Mike Coe has these Trojans ready to battle.
Well, and as we wrapped up the previous game, we were told to be a 4:15 kickoff, but looks like we're ready to go here early instead. So St. Augustine will kick off, and Coffee will return with Pat McCall and Brady Shook back to return this kick. There is McCall, a very explosive return man. And we are just about ready to kick it off under skies that are mostly cloudy with all the rain that fell here on Thursday. Of course, the artificial turf field making it possible to play more games here. And here we go between St. Augustine and Coffee. And this will be Brady Shook on the return for Coffee. And he is hit and taken down shy of the 20-yard line. That was Tyrese Woodgett, beg your pardon, on the return. And so it will be Coffee sending out the offense for the first possession of this game. Lights are on here at the Glenn County Stadium as the Trojans, who won their opener over Tift County 55-7 and then lost a heartbreaker at Bainbridge 24-21, losing on a touchdown in the final 20 seconds of the game with a backup quarterback on for Bainbridge. So they have been chomping at the bit for this one. That was 2 weeks ago. And here we go with Maurice Hansley as the quarterback working from the shotgun on this first possession. He'll hand it off. Antoine Mcduffie running left. McDuffie came in with averaging 104 yards per game in the first two games of this season for the Trojans.
You know, Cole, no real surprise for Coffee County opening up with the run. These guys are going to major in the run. They are going to ride McDuffie all day long. He's a tough, strong, powerful running back. But more importantly, you look at these big fellas up front. He is running behind some serious horses on this offensive line. We'll talk about them in a little bit.
On second down, they'll run it again, and it's McDuffie again, plowing his way forward past the 30 for a first down. Jerzabion Grant came flying in, the right tackle at the last second. There's 76. The 300-pounder and a junior, and a guy who Mike Coe singled out on that offensive line, a veteran offensive line for the most part. Grant, a junior. There are 3 seniors, and then Tico Smith is a sophomore at left guard. So when they need yardage, figure they'll go right more often than not.
You got somebody that big, Cole, you might as well run behind him. That's a big fella down there playing tackle.
From center to right tackle for Coffee, it's 270, 260, and 300.
You know, there's colleges that would love to have that size. And here we are just at a high school game. Wow, those are some big fellas. And they look real fit. They must be training well at Coffee County, too.
That's one thing that, in talking with Mike Coe, who, of course, for years coached in the state of Florida, one of the things he pointed out that he was so excited about his move to Coffee was the facilities and support that school has always given. On first down, quick throw near side, Billy Simpson with the catch, and he is ridden down on the outside. Marquise King with the tackle for St. Augustine. It will be a 5-yard gain and brings up 2nd and 5, and exactly the kind of pass you want to give your quarterback early in the game.
Absolutely. This is a nice read by the quarterback. We got off coverage by the corner. It's a pitch and catch. They're like playing in the driveway, out in the front yard. I throw it, you catch it, we get down, we get 5 yards.
Elijah Gaskin comes out to the near side in this 3-wide receiver set. And they'll hand it off to McDuffie again, running right behind that big beef on the offensive line. Just shy of the first down, but it'll bring up a 3rd down and short for Coffee. Mentioned that Coe replaced Robbie Pruitt, who went to Coast Williston. Pruitt, a Gainesville native, so closer to home as his illustrious career continues. Guy who won state championships at University Christian and then at Union County, 7 all told. Ansley will bring James Gerard in motion and give it up the middle. McDuffie again. He's got the first down. Finally wrapped up and taken down at the 43-yard line.
Real good hard running by Antoine Mcduffie right here. I mean, he gets hit in the backfield. St. Augustine brought a linebacker from the outside. And St. Augustine's defense is built for their linebackers to make plays. And he just kind of slipped through the arm tackle and went and gained 5 yards for a first down.
Jimmy Wheeler, the middle linebacker, the free safety, came up along with middle linebacker Sean Harvey on that play. Fake it to McDuffie, and now it's a pitch wide. And here goes Pat McCall using the speed. McCall into St. Augustine territory and down at the 36-yard line. McCall is a guy who they'll throw it to, who they'll hand it to. He's on kick returns. They just want to get the ball in his hands when they can. He and Tyrese Woodgett are the big play guys for this Coffee team, the speed merchants on this offense for the Trojans.
That was a nice little option run. I mean, that's one of those things as a defensive coach, you have to practice that each day because you don't see it very often.
And
nice
then
run.
There's McDuffie again. So you slam with McDuffie as the sledgehammer. They also have Fred Brown, who Mike Coe called a bowling ball if they want to come in. So they've got a lot of different running styles to utilize for the Trojans, and they run it a lot in each of their first 2 games. For those who are into statistical anomalies, Joe, 42 carries, 255 yards in both games.
That is just absolutely – that's ball control offense. What you're doing is you're making the other team play defense the whole time. And, look, defenses don't want to be on the field. They want 3 and outs and get out of there quick.
Here's Hansley throwing on the option. Too high, incomplete. He was trying to get it to Kishad Turner, the 5'7" senior. And that'll bring up 3rd down and long for the first time in the ballgame as we take a look at the RV Clinic's replay.
You know, that's a tough throw by a quarterback, rolling left, throwing across your body. To make a really accurate throw is very hard, and it was there. You know, receiver went and tried to climb the ladder, didn't come down with it.
get a 3 wide receiver set. Brady Shook is offset to the left. And Hensley will run the option play. And St. Augustine there to stop him for a short gain. Yellow Jackets defense reading that one well. It brings up an interesting decision here for Mike Coe and the Trojans on 4th down and 5.
So this is a great play by St. Aug. The linebackers make the read. Coming up, put a hit on the quarterback. He runs into his own guy, gains a couple yards. But great job by the Yellow Jacket defense.
So 4th and 5, and they will apparently go for it. We'll see if Hensley tries to draw St. Augustine offside here. Play clock winding down inside of 10, and then timeout is called. So maybe a little more conversation here. This would be a fairly long field goal. Jonah Taylor is the kicker for the Trojans. And from here, it would be a 47-yard field goal. No wind to speak of. I think Mike Coe is weighing the risk-reward here, trying to go for it.
Or he could be seeing what Coach Braddock was doing on defense. That's the other option, too. In high school, a 47-yard field goal, that's like a mile and a half in the NFL. You have to deal with snap and hold and kick, and these are things you don't get to practice a whole lot in high school. That is a boot for a high school kicker. I'm sure Mike Coe's sitting there going, you know what, we're in that gray area, and unless this kicker is just an absolute beast, and watching warm-ups, he's got a nice leg, but 47, Cole, that is a serious poke. I bet he's trying to figure out what he's going to do. Is he going to run an option? Is he going to run a naked? Will he run up the middle with Mcduffie? I don't know.
Quick kick also in the back of your mind.
No, the quick kick. I like the quick kick.
Yeah.
That's always a lot of fun to just kind of throw it's a curveball for the defense.
The two styles of offenses here are an interesting balance. You've got the grinded out running game of the Trojans, and then you've got the up-tempo of St. Augustine. And so if you're looking at the style of game, St. Aug would love to get out to a lead and then try to make Coffee catch up. Coffee, if they grab a lead, they can be tough to handle.
Yeah, because they just don't seem to get off the field.
Here we go on 4th down. They run it right up the middle. And St. Augustine there to make the stop for a gain of 1. That is not enough, and the Yellow Jackets will take over. They tried to bang it up the middle, but nothing doing, and St. Aug will come out on offense for the first time. So 1st and 10. Let's see how St. Augustine operates with Lachlan Hewitt at quarterback. He will hand it off to Devonte Lyons. Lyons dropped for a loss. Lyons, the guy we'll talk quite a bit about. In 2 games, he's averaged 152 yards per contest. He's got offers from Miami and Boston College and others. And he is just a junior, so we'll see a lot of him over the next 2 years in high school football in the area.
This Jacket offense is electric. You've got a young quarterback who can really spin the ball and throw it.
Hewlett fires high and outside as he tried to get it to Miles Simmons. And the up-tempo already evident from St. Augustine. Not going to do a lot of huddling. They'll line up. Play will be signaled in from the sidelines, and Lachlan Hewitt will be off and working. A handoff up the middle. Lions, nothing doing, so Coffey's defense shutting down the Yellow Jackets 3 and out on St. Augustine's first possession.
That was not the way you want to start if you're a St. Augustine Jacket. That was just, they ran 3 plays, but they've got nothing out of any of them. Maybe Coach Braddock and the guys down there, Coach Brandon James, who's the offensive coordinator, former Gator great, maybe they're just kind of testing the waters to see how Coffey's going to play him, how they're going to play this electric style with these amazing skill positions that St. Aug has.
So the punt coming up, and back to return for Coffey is Tyrese Woodgett. Low snap, fielded, and the punt is away. Woodgett tells everybody to get away, and it takes a St. Augustine bounce. Good roll for the Jackets inside the 30-yard line. And with 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter of a scoreless ball game, it is time now for our hydration break. Brought to you by Body Armor. Back with this one as the first quarter rolls on. Welcome back to Brunswick. Scoreless in the first quarter between Coffee and St. Augustine. The Trojans 1-1 coming into today, and a lot of history for this Coffee football program from Douglas, Georgia. You see the principal, Mr. Van Allen, and pretty good speed in the famous alumni category.
It's not too bad. Little Tyreek Hill.
The cheetah.
The cheetah coming out of Coffee County. That's one of those things. Put in your back pocket. Save it for your next sports trivia night at the sports bar for Monday Night Football, which is back, by the way, this week. I mean, how can it get any better? Football's back, Cole.
Maurice Hansley will hand it off, and it's McDuffie right up the gut, where he's had his best success so far in the first quarter. Gains 4 to the 33-yard line.
Nice little gap run by Coffee County again. And a really nice tackle by Singleton for St. Aug.
Take a look at the replay. From behind.
Boom. That's how you do it, kids. You want to learn how to tackle? Watch Singleton.
Ja'Kai Singleton. Here is the run to McCall. Beg your pardon, to McDuffie again. So they're feeding the main back here. This is a matchup that's going to be interesting as we track the running backs in this game between Coffee and McDuffie going forward, and St. Augustine's Lions. The game within the game, so to speak. If one of these two running backs has a substantial statistical edge, you would think their team would have the edge as well. Quick throw left side. Billy Simpson gets to the outside, breaks a tackle, and it's a track meet. Simpson on the run, tracked down by a pair of St. Augustine defenders. Pablo Rivera was there along with Braylon James. But a big gainer for Coffee.
Young Braylon James. I think he's the brother or the nephew of Brandon James. Great job by the St. Augustine defense. They don't give up at St. Aug. These Jackets are coached to play through the whistle. They play every down. Listen, they could have given up and thrown their hands up and said, well, we miscontained. But no, they ran it down and made a stop.
And quickly getting off the snap on first down as McDuffie takes it from Hansley and bangs his way forward for a yard. Try to get St. Augustine, trying to catch their breath, but the Jackets defense there to make the stop. Shamar Moore in the middle.
You know, St. Aug plays a 3-4 defense, which has become more and more prevalent in high school football. We see a lot of it in college, which puts the onus of the defense on your linebackers. You're saying, hey, we've got great athletes at linebacker, but those D linemen, those 3 down guys, they got to be tough, they got to be strong, they got to be fast, and they'll make a bunch of plays.
Hansley on the rollout, fires, and it is complete to Pat McCall inside the 10. Will be shy of a first down. Needed to get to the 5 and got to the 7.
So I like what Coffee County's doing here with their offense. You know, they try to stuff it up the middle, and then, hey, we're going to fake a stuff up the middle, naked, throw. We got a receiver open. This right now, Coffee County is making St. Aug have to think through their defensive calls.
We're in the red zone. Our red zone coverage brought to you by Douglas Phelps Insurance from State Farm. Hansley in the pistol, gives it to McDuffie, and Sean Harvey jumped on his back and rode him down just shy of the first down. It's going to be 4th down and half a yard, it appears. They needed to get just to the front edge of the 5-yard line, and they came up maybe a foot short.
You know, when you have an offensive line like Coffee County has, and you have a back like McDuffie, those 2-yard runs, they add up on a defense. They wear them down, and that's what Coffee's trying to do right here. Impose their will. First down, Coffee County. Oh, dear.
Hensley takes it himself and has a touchdown. Just plowed his way right behind the offensive line. That big group of Fosses up front. And all of a sudden, he shot out the back end, and there he was, touchdown.
That's that old wedge up the middle. That was a great call by Coach Coe. What a fun, old-school, just hard-nosed football play. Watch these big fellas up front get close together, shoulder to shoulder, running the flying V. It's like a bunch of geese flying through the air. Get their way through.
You saw Lawton Hood as well with the long hair there. Got off his man and led the way into the end zone. So Coffee with a 7-0 lead. With 2:56 remaining in the first quarter, the Trojans strike first here in the Georgia-Florida Border Classic.
You know, if we were to pull up the time and possession, I think St. Aug has only run 3 plays at this point. We got 3 minutes left in the first quarter. They've run 3 offensive plays. Coffee County is grinding this game slowly. This is what Coach Mike Coe wants. This is not what Coach Braddock and the Jackets want. They want to get the pace going. And see, the great thing about St. Aug is they're so electric. Like they can tie this game up real quick with a big play, a big throw. It's going to be fun. But here we go on special teams again. And St. Aug has some electric returners.
71 yards and 7 plays.
Now the referee now blowing the whistle repeatedly and trying to wave everybody off the field. We certainly were concerned about it being canceled, but the most dangerous weather seems to have pushed off to the coast. So we're back at it here in the first quarter with Coffee leading St. Augustine 7-0. And the Yellow Jackets, who have had only a handful of offensive plays, will start from their own 26-yard line after return by Marquise Sands.
So with 2 hours for these coaches to scheme and figure out and go, oh, this is what they were doing to us, it's going to be fun to sit back and watch to see what Coach Braddock has thought up in his staff and what Coach Mike Coe's thought up on his staff as well at Coffee County.
Lachlan Hewitt will hand it off. Devonte Lyons has not been able to get going as of yet for St. Augustine. We mentioned all the schools that are interested in Lyons, the junior. A number of offers already, including from Miami. Lost a yard there, so it's 2nd and 11. Hewlett to throw, going deep. And too far for Marshawn Harris. Senior wide receiver had a half a step, but they could not connect.
You know, that was an impressive throw by a young quarterback. And that was actually probably the first time the St. Augustine offensive line has handled this Coffee big defensive line.
Hewlett, a sophomore, starting at quarterback for St. Augustine, on the run now, and had to throw it away. So the St. Aug offense has not gotten untracked here either before or after the break, and 4th down coming up and a punting situation for the Yellow Jackets.
You know, young Lachlan there, this is a growing year for him. He's highly talented. He's got amazing skills, but he's young. I mean, and as a young quarterback, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to flow with the pocket, and you're not going to make the best throws. But this is a year for him, as Coach Braddock said, for him to learn how to do it.
Drake Lusk to punt it away for St. Augustine. Tyrese Woodgett back to return, calls for the fair catch and takes it at the 40-yard line, and that's where Coffee will have it as they get rolling here. The thought coming into this game, now some extracurricular activity and some flags flying all over the place.
That's 2 hours of frustration sitting in the locker room right there.
I was about to say, talk about getting pent up for a while. And coming into the game, the expectation was that Coffee would have the size and depth advantage, and that St. Augustine, if they could get an early score and their tempo could cause a bit of an issue. So far, though, through a little under 10 minutes of playing time over the course of about 2.5 hours, it has been Coffee's pace so far.
Coffee is imposing. They're throwing their will down on St. Augustine. I mean, they are absolutely doing what they want to do when they want to do it. They're grinding time. They're making St. Aug play defense. They're keeping their offense off the field.
So the 15-yard face mask on St. Augustine will move the ball into Yellow Jackets territory for this possession for Coffee. So we'll start at the 45-yard line of St. Augustine. And we'll expect to see the running game continue to be a big part of the approach for Coffee. Hansley gives it off to Tyrese Woodgett, and the speedster able to pick up 5 and close to 10. Called a 9-yard gain by Tyrese Woodgett as we take a look at the RV Clinics replay.
Real simple split back, off tackle. I mean, and to have 2 running backs between McDuffie and Woodgett. Come on, Coffee County. Share the love with everybody else. That's ridiculous.
And we still haven't seen Fred Brown, who's averaging almost 6 yards per carry.
You got 3 of them, Coffee?
They are loaded up.
That's fantastic.
Hansley to throw it on 2nd and short. Going deep. And incomplete. Billy Simpson had a step. They could not connect. Simpson had a 53-yard reception to set up the touchdown earlier here in the quarter, which seems like several months ago.
You know, one of the big things about having three amazing power speed running backs is that you can get one-on-one coverage with your wide receivers. St. Aug is forced to try to throw an extra guy in the box, which means these corners, hey, man, you're out there on an island, brother. You got to fight and claw and scratch and try to stay on top of your receiver.
So 3rd and a yard. And Hansley goes under center. And just like he did to get the touchdown, follows the push of his interior lineman and gains enough to move the chains.
Smith, Risch, and Roberts, big fellas up front, 225, 270, 260. There's a lot of muscle coming at you, St. Aug. It's hard to hold up.
Lawton Hood is in there at right guard. The long mane flowing from underneath the helmet. Keyshawn Turner in motion. He'll give it up the middle. McDuffie breaks into the open field. Antoine Mcduffie, touchdown. And Coffey's ground game continues to lead the way for the Trojans.
This is hard running by McDuffie. Little dive play right up the middle. Watch. Let's watch this replay. Watch a little dive play. Whoop, slip. Oh, look at it. And just runs through some arm tackles. Great vision. Great getaway speed. 6 points. Coffee County.
And the extra point is up and through. As Jonas Taylor moves it through, and McDuffie with a 35-yard touchdown run has stretched the lead. Coffee has woken up after the break and leads it 14-0. We will let you know as well as we continue to stream this broadcast on News4Jax Plus and News4Jax.com that there will be an expedited game approach here. So that means that we hope to be able to get this one in a decent amount of time before the late game. Baker County and Richmond Hill are set to go. That was originally going to be a 7:30 kickoff, but with the rain delay, the weather delay, that's not likely to happen now at that time. So we'll keep you updated on the proceedings there. Both teams will have plenty of opportunity to warm up on some practice fields nearby.
Cole, I've never been streamed before. You know that? This is a new experience for me.
Well, now you're worldwide.
This is kind of fun. I kind of feel like I'm stepping into the new world.
Former NFL long snapper and current internet sensation Joe Zelenka.
Absolutely. I'm being streamed live on the internet. It's kind of exciting.
Here's the kick. And this one is taken by Marquis Sams. Gets up to the 20 and then pushed back from there. So it'll be the long field for St. Augustine once again. Interesting, we talked about the coaches in this game. Both very accomplished coaches. Mike Coe, of course, mentioned 4 state titles in 5 years with Madison County. Brian Braddock, very well-respected coach. Doesn't have the hardware that Coe does, but you've got 2 guys who are not only very successful and well-respected, but also who have worked together before. In 2014, they were on an all-star game staff, and both in separate conversations are talking about how much they respect the other coach. Here's a quick throw to the near side, caught by Miles Simmons. Check that, that's Marquis Sams, and Sams can't get away. So once again, St. Aug trying to find the right combination to gain some yardage and some traction against this Coffee defense.
You know, they're trying to find that kinks in the armor. They've tried runs up the middle. They're just hitting that Coffee defensive line. You know, why not do a little bubble screen outside and see if you can't get outside? There was nothing there either.
Hewlett under pressure, and down he goes. Taken down by Jackson Banks, the senior defensive tackle. Powered his way into the backfield. And that, likely how the first quarter will end with the clock winding down here. Take another look at the RV Clinics replay.
Simple 4-man rush by Coffee County. Big Jackson Banks just comes with a bull rush.
And that is how the first quarter ends, with Coffee up 14-0. At the break, St. Augustine looking for some answers on offense as the second quarter approaches in the Georgia-Florida Border Classic. The first quarter has been more Coffee than anything. all Trojans as the second quarter gets underway, and it's a quick throw by St. Augustine to the near side.
Pass complete.
Alex Rannick with the catch on the near side, and again,
Catch made by
going
Daryl
side to
Dickinson.
side, and not able to get anything going up the field for the Yellow Jackets. Joe, a tough first quarter for St. Augustine.
This is really tough for St. Aug. I mean, it is all coffee all the time. If this game continues, Coach Braddock, he's going to have so much coffee, he's not going to sleep tonight. A little low on the snap.
Punt by Lusk, who's been busy here early on. And this one is taken by Woodgett. Gets to the outside, gets a block. A couple of flags come in from a long way away. I think we're going to have an illegal block there. But Coffee, even with the penalty, should be in good shape to start this drive once again. They have dominated the first quarter of this ball game.
100% domination. You know, this is an easy call for the officials, this little crackback block. It's a point of emphasis nowadays in football. It's one of those things as high school coaches you don't want your kids to do, but it seems to happen at least once or twice a game in most games that I've watched. But it's a safety issue. Keep kids safe. It's way more important than having these big blow-up hits that happen.
It is a block in the back, and it will move the ball back to the 48-yard line of Coffee. So they're starting near midfield yet again. This has been the story of the first half, the first quarter plus.
Now, Cole, is that considered a personal foul, block in the back, or is that just a block in the back?
I think it's just a block in the back.
So it's not a personal foul, so because that changes things a little bit.
I'll hand it off McDuffie right up the middle for 9 yards. Again, the Coffee offensive line, particularly those middle three, Tico Smith, Dane Risch, and Lawton Hood getting it done against the St. Augustine front seven. Give him 8 yards to the 44. Right now it becomes a fairly easy play calling option for Coffee. Just keep feeding Antoine Mcduffie, who lunges forward for a first down, it appears. Yep, they're going to move the chains. If you're an offensive play caller and you've got a guy running the ball like that and an offensive line blocking as they are, boy, it just makes your life as easy as can be.
It makes it really simple, and Coffee is just going to continue to do this until St. Aug finds an answer.
Hansley gives it to McDuffie again, and here he goes. Inside the 35, another 8-yard gain by McDuffie.
This is a fantastic job by this Coffee offensive line. A little gap play right up the middle, guard pull, square shoulders, fits up right on the Mike backer. Fantastic offensive scheme.
Coffee getting to it in a hurry again. And again, McDuffie gains the first down inside the 30-yard line. I think this would fall under the category of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Absolutely. And this is a great plan by this Coffee offensive staff. I mean, really, if St. Aug can't stop this play, you've got a running back like McDuffie. Keep feeding him. It's kind of like me at the buffet, Cole. You know,
just keep feeding you.
Just keep feeding me. Don't stop. Please don't stop. You know, the all-you-can-eat ice cream bar, I'm there all night, babe.
Hensley will give it off this time to Woodgett, and there's the speed, and there's another Coffee touchdown. Tyrese Woodgett, the sophomore. Coffee scores a third touchdown here in the first half. And the extra point by Jonah Taylor is good. 9:35 to play in the first half, and Coffee out to a 21-0 lead. So if you're Brian Braddock now on the St. Augustine sideline, what do you tell your defensive front?
You know, that's a great question. I wouldn't want to be one of those defensive linemen right now because I'm sure they're all getting an earful. But this is a learning experience. Coach Braddock told us as we talked to him this past week, this is a young team, and he kind of expected it to be this kind of tough sled. But St. Aug and Coach Braddock never shy away from a game. They believe that every single time they play it is an opportunity to get better, and playing tough opponents makes them better, and that's why they are who they are.
There's no doubt when you play against a team like Coffee, coached by a highly accomplished coaching staff, as they have, you're going to find out where your strengths and weaknesses lie. And early in the season, again, this is third week for St. Augustine. You hope and expect it'll pay dividends down the line. Here is Sams on the return, trying to ignite something for the Yellow Jackets, and gets to the 27-yard line. You can just see he was trying to find that extra gear or the extra lane.
On the return.
And St. Augustine will try to get their first sustained drive of the ball game now.
And
St. Aug has gone 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out through a whole lot of football. They've got to put something together here. They've got to figure out something that works. Is it a pass? Is it a run? It's going to be interesting to find out what Coach Braddock's drawing up.
Lachlan Hewitt in the pistol formation. He hands it off to Devonte Lyons. Little bit of room in the middle, but not much. Lyons able to pick his way for a gain of 3.
You know, one of the tendencies as you watch games like this, and if you're a St. Aug fan, and you're wondering why don't they run something gimmicky, why don't they do something, try something, Coach Braddock and these Jackets, they aren't going to get away from who they are, and that is a tough, hard-nosed football team. They're going to run their plays, and eventually they're going to find some cracks, and it's going to work.
2nd down and 7. Lions again. Nothing doing. Hit in the backfield by Larry Daniel, the middle linebacker, led the way. Player that Mike Coe called the salt of the earth, and one of the inspirational leaders of the defense, coming from inside linebacker.
Look at this St. Augustine line. All we're seeing is a sea of maroon, and there is no hole at all for Devonte to run through.
Also saw Morgan Kupris coming in. And here's a high snap over Hewlett's head. He's able to track it down, and now he just throws it to get rid of it. There was a receiver in the area. Miles Simmons came back, but incomplete. And another punting situation for the Yellow Jackets. They just have not been able to get things going. When you're struggling to get things going and then you have a breakdown on a snap, boy, that'll just kill you.
It is not a good feeling. And listen, we know this St. Aug's, their front five, they are young. There's a couple sophomores out there. You're talking kids that are 15 years old going against 18-year-old defensive linemen. It's tough to have to snap or block, especially when things aren't going well. And we got another flag.
Now some movement. This one's going to be on Coffee. So a 4th and 8 becomes 4th and 3.
5-yard penalty. Markov takes the ball to the 36.
Don't believe that's going to make much of a difference from a strategic standpoint here. Still going to be a punt. And deep back to return this one for Coffee is Tyrese Woodgate, who had the touchdown just a moment ago. Nearly blocked. High punt. Woodgate calls everybody off. And again, it takes a St. Augustine roll inside the 35 and down at the 34-yard line. Well, the turf has been friendly to the St. Augustine punting game, but that's been about it for the Yellow Jackets so far. It has been all Coffee here in the opening quarter plus. Again, remember, after this game, it'll be Baker County against Richmond Hill in the final matchup of the Georgia-Florida Border Classic. For now, though, St. Aug looking for answers. You see Pablo Rivera there, the quarterback of the defense. A strong safety for the Yellow Jackets. And again, McDuffie in the backfield, standing off the right hip of Maurice Hansley. And they'll run the option. Hansley keeps it. Gets a block, and down at the 49-yard line, another first down. He had a receiver out in front of him blocking for him.
I mean, they're just having their way with St. Aug right now.
The running game has been dominant for Coffee in this first half. Give it to McDuffie. Off to the races again. There he goes, an inside move. Hit hard and knocked down inside the 40-yard line. But not before he picks up another first down. Sean Harvey, the middle linebacker, with a big hit on McDuffie. And you see Mike Coe asking for a blow to the head. There was no flag coming.
13-yard
Big
pickup.
Sean Harvey bringing the wood on that play. But after 15 yards of running, it really doesn't mean much.
1st and 10 from the 38. Wood get back in there in the backfield. Hansley will throw it near side. Caught. Keyshawn Turner can't get away. Thrown out of bounds and to the ground by Braylon James, the sophomore. So 2nd down and 5. Even when St. Aug makes a pretty good play defensively, it's still a 5-yard gain.
It really is.
Hansley will hand it off to Tyrese Woodgett. Woodgett gains 3, and it brings up 3rd down and 2 from the 30-yard line. So McDuffie hasn't gotten a carry since he was popped by Sean Harvey. Let's see if he comes back to the ballgame. Hansley, quick throw, far side, caught. Billy Simpson has the 1st down, eluding a couple of St. Augustine tacklers.
You know, St. Aug defended this play really, really well. Just a little missed tackle, otherwise they could have forced a 4th down.
Harvey was over there to make the tackle once again. He's been very active here for St. Augustine. And once again, Coffee on the move here in the 2nd quarter. Hansley to Woodgett. Smooth stride through the hole. And a gain of 9. It's 5 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, 14 yards.
Okay, I just want everybody to watch. Look at this Coffee offensive line. Driving St. Aug 4 or 5 yards off the ball. Lawton Hood, you got the flowing locks, Lawton, looking gorgeous. And bringing some great blocking up front.
Sean Harvey with the stop.
Coffee has entered the red zone, brought to you by Douglas Phelps, St. Farm Insurance.
You know, if I could have hair, I'd want hair like Lawton. Like, that is gorgeous.
That's what you're going with.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's impressive. I mean, I have to spend a lot more money on conditioner and shampoo.
That's dedication.
I mean, it really is.
3rd down and 2. McDuffie back in the ball game now. Run the option to that side. Hensley's going to keep it himself. Took a big hit. Ball's on the ground. St. Augustine has recovered.
Ball is loose.
The first big play of the ball game for St. Aug, and the Yellow Jackets defense comes up with a turnover. McDuffie doesn't want to give up the ball, but it's already been signaled by the officials, and now here's the flag throw.
You know, everything so far has been going Coffee's way. Absolutely everything. They can do what they want, inside, outside run. But this St. Aug team, this St. Aug culture, going all the way back to Coach Wild, they are built tough. And it just takes one play for them to wake up. And maybe, just maybe, Cole, this might be that momentum change for these Jackets.
They needed something positive to happen. They were in danger of going down 28-0, but big defensive play there.
And a sportsmanlike conduct penalty will be called on the Trojans. It will be a 15-yard mark off.
So, in addition to recovering the ball at the 16-yard line, tack 15 more on, and take a look at the hit first there.
This is great coaching, great fundamentals, hit and strip. Great job by Ja'Kai Singleton. What a great play.
Ja'Kai Singleton forced the fumble. And we'll take a break here for the hydration break. Brought to you by Body Armor. With 5:16 to play in the first half. St. Aug with new life after recovering the fumble. Coffee leads it 21-0. And back at it here at the Glenn County Stadium. St. Augustine hoping to get things going after the recovered fumble. And here is Devonte Lyons with his best carry of the game thus far. A 12-yard gain off the right side for the junior running back. And suddenly, momentum starting to wear a different color.
Sometimes all you need is one play to wake up a sleeping Lions. And maybe this is it. Maybe this little fumble recovery is going to bring Mr. Devonte into the game.
1st 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. Lyons again running up the middle, looking for a hole. Found a little seam, and it closed very quickly, and he's pushed back at the 40-yard line. Helmet came off of Irvin Watkins, the center, so they send in Travis Banta, a senior.
And then big Aiden Blanco is going to step in at center right now. So it's a little shuffle of the deck when something like that happens. You can tell this is a great staff at St. Augustine to be able to come up with that fast. Most high schools would have to maybe take a timeout to figure out who's going to be where and who's going to play what.
2nd and 8. Hewlett signaling something to Lyons. He's going to keep it himself. Come to the edge, and Hewlett spun down after a short gain. Tracked down on the play by Tyreek Edwards.
Great open field tackle right here, but Coffee County is stacking 9 guys in the box. And when we talk about that in the football world, that means they have 9 guys all around the ball. There is not much room. I mean, Lockwood decides to pull it out and run with it, but great tackle. Open field tackle. Those are hard to make, Cole.
In this situation, you wonder if Carl Jenkins can get involved, the sophomore wide receiver. Great young talent, and they're going to go for him. Jenkins out there, and what a catch made inside the 25-yard line by Carl Jenkins. Biggest play in the game for St. Augustine.
This is a great throw by Lachlan Hewitt. This is absolutely an amazing ball downfield. Watch this catch and throw. Hewitt drops back. We've got a post route on the outside. Catch it at a high point, little fella. Come down, first down Jackets. They're in the red zone, Cole.
For the first time, they've made it to the 21-yard line. Here's Lyons inside the 20, still churning those legs, and down to the 15. Well, Jenkins made that catch previously. Big week for him. The sophomore received his first Division I offer from Florida A&M this week. And the 6'3 wide receiver certainly has the eye of a lot of coaches and scouts around the area. Lyons running left, gained a couple to the 14-yard line.
You know, Jenkins with that kind of catch, going and elevating, running full speed, making a big catch in a big game. There's going to be more college calling him. College is showing up at his door, sending him letters.
Now 3rd and 3 from the 14. Hewlett going to roll to his right and throw. A little too wide. Trying to get it to Miles Simmons. And now a 4th down decision for Brian Braddock. I think he's going to keep the offense out there.
It's not really a decision. When you're down 21 points, you need to score touchdowns. Field goals aren't going to help you at this point. Let's get a touchdown.
The line to make is just inside the 12. Give it to Lyons. Nope, faked it to Lyons on the end around. Running left and into the end zone. Touchdown on 4th down for St. Augustine.
What a play call. Brandon James, OC of St. Aug. You know, they said Coffey's going to stack the box. We're going to use you, Mr. Lyons, as a decoy, and we're going to run a reverse.
Trenton Jones took it around the edge and scores the touchdown, and it all came off of the fumble forced by the defense.
Trenton Jones, a sophomore, young fella, showed the speed.
Whistles blow, and this will not count, so St. Augustine will get another chance at it from 5 yards back. Well, you mentioned it. Sometimes one play can wake up a team, and it certainly did wake up St. Augustine. After the fumble forced by Ja'Kai Singleton really turned things around, and we go from looking like this might be a runaway to suddenly having a ball game again. Extra point nearly blocked again, and this one is no good, wide to the right. So it stays 21-6 with 2:34 left before halftime. The guys on the St. Aug sideline are going to be feeling a whole lot better about their position now than they did just a few minutes ago.
You know, they do. They've got a little bit of momentum going. And I just wanted you to watch this play call here. A little option read. You know, Lachlan Hewitt pulls it back out of Lyons' hands, hands it off to Jones, who makes a fantastic run around the corner.
You can see the linebackers really keying in on Lyons, expecting that they'd go with the top dog, but sometimes the value is as a decoy.
Sometimes you look this way so I can go that way. That's the old magician
Very deep.
trick. Like, listen, I'll point out the obvious, Cole. There's nothing wrong with
when
that.
They think
Captain
you're gonna zig,
Obvious is
you
what
zag,
they call it.
right?
Absolutely. Got to keep them guessing.
Pat McCall and Tyrese Woodgett back deep here for Coffee. And it'll be McCall from the 5. Has some room. Has a seam. And taken down at the 38-yard line. There are a couple of hold-your-breath players for this Coffee offense. McCall and Woodgett certainly with their speed, and McDuffie with his vision and running. And see why they're such a dangerous team.
You know, this Coffee team, the entire program, like, they are the complete package. They're excellent on special teams. Their defense is stout. And their offense right now is just a well-oiled machine.
And they'll start 1st and 10 from their own 38-yard line with 2:26 to play before halftime. Hansley gives it off McDuffie, and good pressure and penetration by the St. Augustine defensive front. They make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and McDuffie a little slow getting up. Mike Wright was in there, backup defensive end.
Cole, that is the first play that I can remember this entire game where St. Aug actually makes a tackle on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. This is a TFL. Great play by the Jackets up front. Maybe that little fumble, that might be a little momentum changer, and we're now seeing it carry over to the defensive side of the ball.
2nd down, 11. First time Coffee's been behind the chains in this game. And they'll run a little toss play. Woodgett hit in the backfield, breaks away. Breaks another tackle. Looking for a block, gets the edge, and watch the speed. Watch out. Woodgett bumped out of bounds at the 39-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle by Drake Lusk with Woodgett's speed. That was the last line of defense.
Cole, you know I don't like to take bubble baths because that bar of soap gets real slippery. Woodgett here is slippery like that bar of soap. Just slip, slip, slip. Makes something out of absolutely nothing. What should have been a 4th down punt is now 1st and 10.
That's the playmaking ability of this Coffee offense. Hansley from the pistol gives it to McDuffie. He's got the edge. McDuffie out of bounds after a 1st down.
Another nice run by Coffee right here. And again, so that we've seen some momentum swings. We saw the fumble. We saw St. Aug start playing real well. And then all of a sudden you think something big's going to happen for St. Aug. And Coffee comes up with a big play, and now they just kind of tie them back together. So did momentum swing again, Cole? I don't know. It's the game inside the game.
Here's McDuffie on 2nd and 2. He's got the 1st down. Yeah, right now Coffee doesn't look like they are lacking any confidence to gain yardage at any moment, even though there have been a couple of plays made by the St. Augustine defense. But with 1:15 to go, a little bit more urgency now from the Coffee offensive squad. Handed off Woodgett. Gained a couple. Michael Coloner was involved with the tackle, along with Mateo Bernardi. Timeout called by Coffee with 1:02 to play.
Thank you to our athletic corporate sponsors, White Star Supply.
Now, this is a potentially game-defining moment here in the game. If St. Aug can hold Coffee out, you feel a lot better about things going into halftime. If Coffee scores, then the Trojans would be in command heading to the locker room.
Well, right now the Trojans are in command, but I like what Coach Mike Coe does right here. A minute and 2 seconds on the scoreboard. They're in the red zone. They're threatening to score. Let's slow the pace down. Let's come over to the side. Let's talk about what we want to do and how we want to attack this Jacket defense, who seems to be starting to figure something out here. There's so many little games inside the games when it comes to these high school games. That was a lot of times they just were the game right there.
You got
that was a game and a game and a game and a game and a game. But like this little chess match that's going on between Coach Braddock and Coach Coe, between the momentum swings, there's these little teeny tiny storylines that makes high school sports what it is. This is why I love high school sports. I mean, it is absolutely so much fun to watch because there's all these little things happening.
Sometimes it's the Jimmies and the Joes, and sometimes it's the X's and the O's.
Absolutely.
In this case, Coffey's had the Jimmies and the Joes making plays for the most part. 2nd down and 7 for the 19. Hansley's going to throw it. Quick whips one to the left side. Caught by Pat McCall. And he is tracked down at the 10-yard line. He'll have a first down as we go inside a minute to play before halftime. It'll be 1st and goal as they put the ball right on the 10-yard stripe. Hansley throws again. McCall again. Lost the football. And it bounces up into the arms of Braylon James, who for a second there thought about taking off.
I thought it would. I mean, this is why we have replay in the booth, but the great call by the official. Catch. Oh, see. Oh, that would have been. That would have been pretty amazing if that would have gone off a shoe and we could have gone the other way. That's just fun.
So 2nd down and goal. 47 seconds remaining in the half. Woodgett in the backfield with Hansley. And they give it to Woodgett, going wide. Trying to get to the edge. Breaks a tackle. Penalty flag is in as he's pushed out of bounds. Penalty flag dropped back around the 14-yard line. Probably a holding call against Coffey. You see the speed by Woodgett, though. When he accelerated, he's off and running.
He has got some jets on him. And this is one of those dangers of running off, the sweep around, is that your offensive linemen who've been blocking so well inside, all of a sudden they get those hands outside. I'll never say offensive linemen hold, Cole. I'll never admit that truth. It is a truth that every offensive lineman holds. But sometimes they get called for it, and it happens to be a lot of times on these sweep plays around because they just hold on a little longer than they should.
More visibility, too, when you get out to the edge.
Yeah.
So 2nd down and goal from the 24-yard line. McDuffie back in there at running back for Coffey. Hansley looking to throw under pressure, dumps it off. McDuffie's got it.
Hansley, dump off pass, complete to McDuffie.
And that brings another timeout called by Coffey with 21 seconds remaining.
So now the chess match continues, right? 3rd down, 21 seconds left. Now instead of 19 yards, now you've got 24 yards. Coffey's tried a couple of different things. They've tried the outside pass. They've tried a screen pass. They tried off tackle. They haven't really found the magic formula yet, and you can tell that they really want to put 6 back up on the board before they go in for halftime and take another break, which feels like we just took a break. Let's not take a halftime. Let's just keep playing is what I say. That 2-hour break should take care of every halftime for the season.
We had no band on the field, though. So no halftime show.
That's
you
right.
Missed that.
I think the band left, Cole. I think they loaded up in the vans and the buses, and they were like, we're out. We're not waiting.
I will say, looking around in the stands, you don't see any sousaphones right now. So that's a pretty good sign. That's where the band would have been.
Right there.
Plenty of good seats still available if you want to bring your piccolo.
Cole, you are a maestro with the sousaphone, aren't you? No. I went to that recorder concert you had a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Hey,
you are good.
Kazoo concerto.
You are good.
All right, so here we go. 21 seconds. Trojans are out of timeouts. St. Aug has all 3 of theirs. So probably 2 shots at the end zone here. Hansley has Woodgett in the backfield. Hansley going to run it now, looking for some help. And a good open field tackle made by St. Augustine there. Orion Brown from his star backer position made the play.
I like the name of that position. What do you play? I'm the star on defense. That's just cool. But Orion Brown, great open field tackle, and it takes the clock, and it runs out.
So that's the way the first half ends. Coffey after a hot start. St. Augustine came back and made a game of it. 21-6. Coffey leading St. Augustine. Can the Jackets rebound after the break? They showed a little life in that second quarter. We'll be back after this halftime break in the Georgia-Florida Border Classic from Glenn County Stadium in Brunswick. The heavy stuff and lightning appears to be well off the coast now, but it is going to be a wet one, and Coffey seems to be a team built for bad weather the way they run the football. We'll see if that plays out here in the second half. As we are underway with Marquis Sams on the return, bounces off of a pair of players and gets forward to the 29-yard line. And that's where St. Augustine will open. St. Aug had to feel pretty good going into the halftime locker room, considering they made a stop at the end to hold Coffee out and getting the ball back to start. Talking about a chance to get the momentum back on your side.
Yeah, this is a real big opportunity for St. Aug to put together a good drive here and put some points back on the board. To bring this game back into play for them is key. And it starts with what happened before halftime. Good halftime adjustments by Coach Braddock and his staff. We'll see what goes on here. But the weather, Cole, with this high-powered offense that they have with so many skill positions and a quarterback like Hewitt, I mean, it's one of those things. Does the weather affect that passing game for St. Aug? But we're going to find out.
They'll hand it off to Lyons, who bounces to the outside. Devonte Lyons with a first down and more. And if he gets going, that really changes things for St. Augustine. There is a penalty marker on the play.
This is going to be a little late hit out of bounds. And it happens, but Lyons, great patience on this run. He kind of sticks himself behind the St. Aug jacket line and just slips out the back door. Impressive.
So tack 15 yards on.
But the vision of a running back is so important when you're talking about the greats. You know, your Emmitt Smiths, your Barry Sanders. It wasn't just that they had all the physical tools, it was that they could see where to go.
Hewlett going deep, looking for Jenkins on the jump ball, and it's incomplete. There is a penalty marker down at the end there as Tyreek Edwards was in coverage, along with Jakeem Williams, the strong safety who came over to support. We saw Jenkins made a tremendous leaping catch in the first half. They tried to go back to him here. This will be defensive pass interference. So a couple of penalties helping move St. Augustine down to the 20-yard line.
You know, anything to keep the ball moving for St. Aug is a good thing for them, whether it's making big plays with Devonte Lyons or getting a penalty and adding on another 15.
Hewlett will give it to Lyons. Just about found a little seam, but he was grabbed around the ankles and dropped by Anthony Polk, the free safety, who came up in run support.
Polk, a great tackler. If Polk doesn't tackle him, Lyons is hitting his head on the goalpost.
2nd and 8. Lyons again. A few more yards. And St. Augustine offensive line starting to get a little more push here as the game has gone on. Logan Hedger, the left guard. Rashmi Williams at left tackle. Bring Ivan Collins, the tight end, off and put Brian Gardner, the sophomore, in there on a wing. 3rd down and 7 from the 17. Need to make it just inside the 11. Hewlett to the end zone. Knocked away, but another penalty marker thrown in. Trenton Jones, who scored a touchdown on an end around, was the target that time, but a penalty thrown in. Another pass interference, so another first down coming up for St. Aug.
You know, St. Aug has an offense that is fun to watch. They've got Lyons out of the backfield, and then they've got these guys on the outside that are young and can run. What a great route. Great read by a young quarterback. Nice play.
1st and goal from the 9 for St. Augustine. Well, a touchdown here completely changes the tenor of this game.
You know what's always fun, Cole, is the different rules that happen in, like, the NFL. If that was an NFL play, where does the ball go? On the 1-yard line. And a lot of times as fans, we get really confused, like, why aren't they putting it on the 1-yard line? Because high school rules are a little bit different than college or professional rules, and it's one of those things that we've got to figure out, and St. Aug decided to go the other way.
That was a 15-yard penalty, but was enforced as half the distance. Then a procedure call against St. Aug, and then play action across the middle, caught for the touchdown, the tight end, Ivan Collins. What a play call by Brian Braddock, and what a pass and catch by Lachlan Hewitt and Collins. And St. Aug is right back in this thing. They have a little block and then release, and he was all alone.
A little Y pop is what we like to call it in the biz, Cole. Y pop, 34 zone, Y pop, Y pops. You pop the defensive end, and then you pop out. Great ball by a young quarterback, Lachlan Hewitt. Throws it back shoulder, and Collins reaches back, grabs it, 6 points. And, of course, we're going to go for 2 here for the Jackets because you're down a lot.
Yeah, Brian Braddock's going to call a timeout just before the play clock expired with 10:21 remaining here in the third quarter. And St. Augustine with a 2-point conversion would cut this to within a 7-point ball game. Boy, you talk about the shifts in momentum in this game, and a lot of it has to go back to what the defense has done for St. Aug, forcing the fumble, and then that led to a touchdown drive, then a play at the end of the half to keep Coffee out of the end zone. Then they pick right up where they left off with the offense, thanks to some penalties, but also a couple of big plays. And St. Aug is right back in this one.
Credit to this St. Augustine coaching staff, making mid-game adjustments, seeing what's happening to them, coming to the sidelines, making these little teeny tiny adjustments to get some stops on defense and to just continue to encourage their players to play one play at a time.
The rain continues to fall. You can probably hear the raindrops bouncing off of our microphones. There are umbrellas out all over the stadium. Hewlett brings Miles Simmons in motion, and another penalty marker thrown. Right at the snap. This was not about the play clock. They're picking it up. Well, the downside of that for St. Augustine is that if they're going to run the same play, Coffee has just seen that formation. They have to change up the play call here. Hewlett has Lyons with him in the backfield as they go for 2. Rolling right and throwing, and the catch is made by Lyons for the 2-point conversion. Lyons out of the backfield with a 2-pointer.
Hewlett to Lyons, just like you draw it up in the driveway. If you tuned in like 4 hours ago when we started this game, you might have thought, hey, this is going to be a coffee runaway. Might as well head off to Starbucks and get my own coffee. But if you're coming back from that trip, like you look at the scoreboard now, this is a ball game, and we've got a whole mess of football left to play. But I didn't think anything less because these are 2 great coaches, 2 amazing programs. This is what it's all about. Georgia versus Florida. Jackets versus Trojans. Bring it on.
And as we've talked about, a Florida versus Georgia matchup, if St. Augustine comes back to win this game, it would even the series at 3 apiece. Here comes Pat McCall. Watch out again. McCall on the run. Got a block. Did he stay in bounds? He did, and drags the defender to the 35-yard line. Boy, there were 2 major blocks on that return, and McCall with the speed takes it into St. Augustine territory.
They say to win a football game, you got to win 2 of 3 phases. You got to win offense or defense, or you got to win offense and special teams. And right now, Coffee has had their way on offense, and they are dominating on special teams. What a great return for Coffee right here. The Trojans come up with the old school pocket wedge, exploded out of it.
64 yards on the return.
And a 64-yard return.
Now the momentum swings continue. Now Coffee trying to capitalize as they'll start deep into St. Augustine territory. Here's Hensley giving it to Mcduffie. And Mcduffie gained a yard before he was hit and taken down. Pablo Rivera, the senior strong safety, came up in run support number 1. He was involved in the tackle. Gain of a yard.
Cole, that exact play was a play that Coffee ran at will in the first half. And they were pushing the St. Augustine defenders probably 2 to 3 to 4 yards off the ball. Here they are with one of their first plays of the second half. Got nothing. Did they make a halftime adjustment? The Jackets. We're going to see if it continues. But this is that little chess match. The game inside the game.
2nd and 9. Give it to Mcduffie running left. He's got a little room. Antoine Mcduffie down the sideline and out of bounds inside the 20 at the 17-yard line. Move the chains as Mcduffie continues to pile up the yardage.
Antoine Mcduffie, he is He's an elite back because this is one of those things where there were a couple Jackets that had contained, they had a chance to tackle him, and it's like almost he just hits a second gear and runs right by it.
First down.
Now with Woodgate in there, he is dropped for a loss. The St. Augustine defense was ready that time.
Loss of 3.
Drake Lusk was in there.
Sean Harvey on the stop.
And Sean Harvey, who had 11 tackles in the first half unofficially. Might have gotten another one. Boy, has he been a force for the St. Augustine defense. So second down and 13 from the 21. Woodgate stays in the backfield. Maurice Hansley, the quarterback, going to throw it. Down to a knee to make the catch on the far side. And then a penalty marker down after Kishad Turner made the catch. I think they're going to get him for hitting him with his knees down. Turner was a little slow getting off, but able to jog to the sidelines.
You know, Cole, this is one of those things we just talked about on the other end of the field with St. Aug and the penalty in the end zone. And this is one of those things, too, that maybe fans don't understand, and players, too. Like, we watch enough NFL games, we think that guy's going to get up and run, so I got to touch him, I got to tag him down. It's knowing your rules, and it's having to make split-second decisions. And unfortunately for St. Aug, this one was just going to cost him.
Ryan Braddock does not like it. But it makes a third down and a yard now from the 9-yard line. Line to make just inside the 8. Woodgate stays in the backfield. Hensley under center, takes the snap and moves forward. This time the St. Augustine defense able to mount a stand. This will depend on the spot. It looks like they're going to give him the first down, but let's take a closer look.
You know, Cole, in the first half, Coffee ran this exact play at about the exact yardage in the game, and they went and scored a touchdown on it. St. Aug has made adjustments. They come off low. They're playing tough. They're scrapping. They're clawing. They're pushing. They are coming.
And they did not get the first down, so it's fourth down and short. And this time with McDuffie back in the lineup. Hensley will give it to him, and he's got the first down. Got ahead of steam and was able to shoot through the middle. See the intensity on the face of Brian Braddock, the St. Augustine coach.
You know, Coach Mike Coe, what a luxury it is to have a back like McDuffie, where you can just hand it off and go get me 2 yards, brother.
Now they'll go up the middle with it. McDuffie gained a yard. It'll be second down and goal from the 5.
I mean, going back to that fourth down play, Cole, everybody in the stadium knew McDuffie was getting the ball. St. Aug knew McDuffie was getting the ball, and it was who wants it more. And McDuffie is just that kind of back. Run and get your first down.
Yeah, that just tells you the kind of running back he is. Again, I think the offensive line for Coffee has been one of the stories of this game. Second down and goal from the 5. McDuffie again into the end zone. Touchdown. His second of the ball game. St. Augustine just that close to making a stop on fourth down, and instead now they find themselves down by 2 touchdowns if the extra point is good.
Just that close, and McDuffie makes a great read to backdoor cut this for 6. Again, the vision of these young backs is absolutely amazing.
Jonah Taylor with the extra point. It is up and no good. Missed this one to the right. So, St. Augustine down 13 instead of 14 with 7:16 to play in the third quarter as we check out the RV Clinics replay.
McDuffie with a handoff, a little jump cut. Boom. 6 points, Coffee.
You talk about the way he runs. You mentioned the vision. The balance has to come with that. If you see a hole suddenly open on one side, the ability to make that move and continue at close to full speed is very impressive.
You know, Cole, you can coach a lot of things to young kids. You can't coach vision. You can't coach balance. That's one of those gifts that come from God above. And these 2 running backs, Devonte Lyons and Antoine Mcduffie, they have both been blessed by God above with this amazing ability to be balanced, to run, to see, to be fast, to be strong. Holy cow. Like, put these names down in a book somewhere, because in a few years you're going to be watching these two play on Saturdays.
Here's the kickoff. And it's taken by Sams at the 18 and is forward to the 30, call it the 33. And so St. Aug will now try to match what they did with their first possession of the half, and that is build a touchdown drive. They were aided by some penalty markers on that drive. And again, playing in the rain here. It's not a heavy rain, but it's steady.
You know, there was a fantastic show in the 90s called, I don't know if you remember it, Fred Savage. You know, what was that show called?
The Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years. And the theme song to that show was Joe Cocker with a little help from my friends, right?
Yep.
And St. Aug has gotten a little help from their friends wearing their striped shirts. Not saying anything back to that one, but they've got help with some penalties to get their offense going. Anything against this Coffee defense is helping St. Augustine is a good thing if you're a Jacket fan.
Well, we'll alert Paul Pfeiffer to the activities here at Glenn County Stadium.
I bet he's in town.
He might be. Here is Hewlett under pressure. Looking and trying to get it to Lyons, but he couldn't hang on. They've rebooted that, you know.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I'm not big on the reboot, reload stuff. You know, give me the originals. I don't know how you can replace Fred Savage.
Totally different thing. Yeah, modernize it too a little bit.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
3rd down and 5 from the 38. Hewlett with pressure in his face. Trying to get away. Now floats one, and it is incomplete. Took a little bit of a chance there. Lyons was in the area. And 4th down coming up.
So this is a young quarterback trying to get some things going. Makes a very scary decision. Coach Braddock, Coach James on the sidelines were holding their breath. Coffee read and played that screen perfectly with their linebackers. There was nothing there. Hewlett just has to learn to throw that out of bounds, live to fight another day. Don't give him the ball way downfield. Could have turned out really bad.
Lusk with the boot. Woodgett circles under it. Fair catch at the 30-yard line. So time for a hydration break. Brought to you by Body Armor with 6:19 to play in the 3rd quarter. Coffee 27, St. Augustine 14 here in Brunswick. 6:19 to play, 3rd quarter. St. Augustine trailing Coffee 27-14. And Coffee with the ball starting on their own 30-yard line. Hand it off to Antoine Mcduffie. Cuts it back against the grain, and he's off to the races once more. McDuffie stays in bounds. 70 yards. Touchdown, Coffee. But there's a penalty marker back at the 37-yard line. This one is coming back.
You know, Cole, this is one of those things where if you're the running back and you just ran 70 yards and you look back and you see two of your big fellas standing with a referee with a handkerchief on the ground, you just think, I just ran a 70-yard sprint for nothing. Because you look at those two offensive linemen, and we've talked about these guys all night. They didn't even run downfield. They're like, yep, it's coming back. We're just going to hang out here. Sorry.
You can see the look on Mike Coe's face. Not pleased at all with the proceedings there. Of course, he didn't have to run 70 yards.
No. I don't want to run 70 yards.
So in addition to bringing the touchdown back, marching back 10 yards from the spot of the foul. So it'll be a 1st and 13.
You know, and I love that it was my man Lawton Hood who was just standing right there by the official. The rock star offensive guard. He's like an 80s hairband guy. Just hung out with the official. Was like, dude, I'm just hanging right here. He's probably talking about his favorite rock song. You know. I don't know. I just love the hair, Lawton. I'm so jelly.
Yeah, he's got a fan. This time it's Hansley running on the quarterback keeper and got a gain of about 3 and bring up 2nd down and 8. There are the locks.
I mean, listen, it's humid out, it's raining, and they still look fantastic.
Got a little Eddie Munson feel to it if you're a Stranger Things fan.
A little Eddie Munson. I was going to go with a little Eddie Van Halen.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, there's a little bit of that going on there.
You You think definitely electric guitar or electric bass for sure for that guy.
I'm saying bass, and he's playing it low. It's not up high. He's going low with it because that's just cooler.
2nd and 8. Hensley on the quarterback option, going to keep it himself. Has the first down and taken down at the 46-yard line. Hensley's had a chance to run a few times. But when you have the options like McDuffie.
Now watch. We've been talking about my man Lawton. Yeah. Boom. Sets the edge. Great block. He's like, they're talking about me in the booth. I better rock out. And wham. Sets the edge. Around the corner. First down.
I'm not sure that wham is the right band to bring up in this setting, but that's okay.
The what?
You said wham.
No, well, listen. There's nothing wrong with wham. They had some
not exactly a hair band.
No, well, not really.
Woodgett up the middle.
They
got
did have
4
some hits.
5. They had hits. No
Listen,
doubt.
I saw you in the parking lot. You rolled by my truck. You heard me blaring a little wham on the way in.
Wake me up before you go.
Absolutely. That's how you get amped for these games.
Your pregame playlist is something to behold.
Careless Whisper. Wham, Make It Big. One of the best albums of the 80s.
Quick throw to the near side. Caught by Billy Simpson. Goes to the outside. Has a first down. Simpson has been used a few times, and boy, when he catches the ball, the possibility of a big play certainly exists.
He is really fast.
Showed it on a 53-yard connection in the first half. The 1st and 10 at the 42. .430 to play in the third quarter. Handed off McDuffie, weaving his way through the St. Augustine defense. Inside the 35 and the 34. Were you a pregame music guy to get hyped up?
There were a lot of things I did to get hyped up, and music was definitely one of them, yes. And my playlist did include Wham and Eddie Van Halen. There was a lot on there.
That's eclectic.
I crossed the genres.
Yeah, eclectic.
A little Mozart. A little Neil Diamond.
Well, yeah, sure. I can see
He's
that.
America's songwriter.
Here's McDuffie, and pulled down shy of the first down as Drake Lusk jumped on his back, the weak side linebacker / punter, and McDuffie will have to come out because the helmet came off.
You'd think that'd be a bad thing. You'd be like, oh, McDuffie comes up, and then here comes Woodgett. It's just like if you're St. Aug, you're like, wow, that's a win, but not really, because Coffee just reloads and comes back with another cup.
Third down and 3 from the 35. Hensley gonna roll and hit behind the line of scrimmage and dropped. Pablo Rivera came up from his safety position and snuffed it out. So, 4th down, and this is in a real in-between situation here as you take another look.
This is a great play by Rivera. He steps up. They could have pitched. Nope, but look, St. Aug had it played out. Absolute great play for St. Aug. The star backer, Orion Brown, right?
Yeah.
And Rivera, they were right there playing it. There was nowhere to go.
4th and 5. Hensley gonna throw it, and it's low. Is it caught? Incomplete. Trying to get it to Keyshawn Turner, who went down for it, but they say he played it on the short hop. So it's over on downs, and now St. Augustine, with less than 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter, with a chance to cut into this 13-point Coffee lead.
Call the story inside the story. Here we go again. Momentum swings, little plays that wind up to be big things. That could change the tide here. There's a lot of football left. We've got a mess of time for St. Aug to do something. They're electric. That's a big stop for that St. Augustine defense, who has been struggling all day to find their footing against Coffee.
So can the offense do something with the opportunity here for St. Augustine from the 37-yard line? Give it to Lyons. No, fake. They'll dump it off short. Miles Simmons has it past the 40 to the 45-yard line before he's pushed back. So a gain of 7.5 or 8 on first down certainly gives you more options on second down.
You need to open up the playbook a little more. St. Aug is liking this little RPO. They're allowing this young quarterback, Lachlan, to see what's going on.
And there was all kinds of movement at the snap. Things were out of sequence for St. Augustine. About half the offensive line moved at the snap and half moved a little before it.
is the hometown.
Mark him back 5 yards.
Georgia Southern Eagles 7.
You know, this St. Augustine offensive line, they're young. I mean, you've got a couple sophomores out there. You've got a couple juniors. There's not a lot of age out there on the field. And so in a game like this, you're on TV, you're playing against a great team and a great program like Coffee, and you're down, you start pressing a little bit. You start getting worried, and you can see the St. Augustine coaches on the sideline telling them, just calm down, just play one play at a time. Take it easy.
And they run right behind the sophomore guard, Tarvarian Keenan, who opens up a hole for Devonte Lyons. Lyons forward for a gain of about 5.
On the stop.
Give him 4, so 3rd down and a long 3 coming up here for St. Augustine as we go inside 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Hewlett has time, looking long, has a man out there. Andre Andrews makes the catch, has the 1st down, and he's out of bounds.
Andre Andrews, great catch. Lachlan Hewitt, another great pass here. Great protection by the Jackets up front. Hewitt, one step. He knew where he was going pre-snap. Drops it in right over the outstretched hands of Tyreek Edwards. Great defense, but better pass.
So now from the 21-yard line, St. Augustine, they'll give it to Lyons. Has some room running left. Spinning, holding on to the football, has a 1st down inside the 10 and down to the 7. And Hewlett wants to speed up the tempo here with 1:39 to play in the 3rd quarter as we're into the State Farm Red Zone. Brought to you by Don Mason State Farm Insurance. Lyons up the middle, dives forward. Ball came out after he hit the ground. Oh, they're going to say it's recovered by Coffee. Oh, what a break for Coffee. That one certainly looked like the ground caused the fumble. And as you know, Joe, and everybody who's ever watched football knows, the ground can't cause the fumble. Yeah, we'll take a look at this one on replay. I don't think that this should be a fumble, but let's see.
Well, you know, the advantage of us being up here is we got the booth, we got the cameras, we got everything.
Well, it was coming out early. Good call. And recovered by Coffee in the end zone.
You know, this officiating crew, and I believe they're right here out of Georgia, you know, that umpire was right behind. He had his eyes. He saw everything happen. Great job by this crew.
Well, Brian Braddock and his coaches, I think, saw it the same way I did initially, but if Braddock looks at the replay, he'll say I think it's the same thing that you and I say, which is it was the right call.
It is the right call, and I know that doesn't make Coach Braddock happy, but when he sees it, it's the right call.
Running up the middle, nothing doing this time for Woodgate. Let's take another look at the RV Clinics replay.
So Lyons tough running, but helmet right on the ball, and we see it. It's coming out before his knee is down. Fumble, which breaks your heart because Devonte Lyons had a really great drive going there. St. Aug had some things going, and you want to see a guy who's running as hard as he is. You want to see him score in that situation. You don't want to see anybody fumble.
Under a minute to play in the quarter. Woodgate. And forward to the 30-yard line. Enough for a 1st down, it appears. We've talked about the game-changing moments for this one, and that certainly appears to be a game-changing moment for Coffee and St. Augustine.
Absolutely, and just when St. Aug thinks they got him figured out on defense, Coffee just changes running backs and comes right back at you, getting 9 yards on an easy off tackle.
Final 30 seconds of the quarter. This could be the last snap of the 3rd. Hand it to Woodgate up the middle. Stays on his feet and gains another couple of yards. I think it was Sean Harvey who went low, and Woodgate able to keep his balance as he went over the top of the middle linebacker. We showed you Shamar Moore there, who was on the ground, kind of grabbing his left hip and looking at his right leg. So hobbling off a bit here, the defensive tackle, the junior nose tackle for St. Augustine.
You know, Shamar Moore has been working his tail off all night long. He's having to battle that big offensive line from the Trojans. And he's holding up well. He's not as big as the Coffee offensive line, but he's real athletic. And you just hate to see a guy, you know, come up gimpy on this play. So hopefully they can get him taped up. He can come back and finish this game.
Now, St. Augustine will certainly need all the horses they can muster against this Coffee ground game. And the clock ticking down to the end of the third quarter with Coffee leading 27-14. The fourth quarter is coming up in this second of three games in the Georgia-Florida Border Classic here from Brunswick's Glenn County Stadium. Quarter number 4 straight ahead on News4Jax.com and News4Jax Plus. Back for the start of the fourth quarter. 2nd and 5 for Coffee. McDuffie up the middle. Hit and trying to, it won't go down. Antoine Mcduffie refuses to hit the deck. There were 3 or 4 Yellow Jackets with an arm on him, including Drake Lusk.
Drake Lusk on the tackle, along with Pablo Rivera.
And now 3rd down and 4. You would think if St. Augustine's going to have a chance in this one, they need to make a stop on this possession.
It's starting to get critical for these Jackets right now, where they've got to get this Coffee offense that is built to just grind and grind and grind. The Coffees are built to grind, Cole. They got to get them off the field.
On 3rd down. And the connection to Pat McCall. He's got the first down on a deep connection. Across the middle and to the far sideline he goes. And a whistle back here at the other end of the field. There is a penalty marker down back at the 32-yard line, and it is holding. And that is a deflator for Coffee. Ryan Braddock's team dodging a bullet there.
They really have dodged a couple serious bullets, and they're kind of keep duck, dive, dip, dodge, and duck and dodge again on this field tonight with some of these penalties. They've been a little lucky.
Patches O'Houlihan would be proud.
Oh, little patches.
So instead of a first down in St. Augustine territory, it's 3rd down and 18 from the 22-yard line. 3rd and long is not what Coffee wants to be. They'd rather be in the 3rd and 4 if you're going to be on a 3rd down. They love to run the ball more than throw it, but they may have to throw it here with Maurice Hansley standing in the pocket. Quick throw to the far side. It's caught by Billy Simpson. Didn't go anywhere. And once again, the yellow handkerchief has helped out St. Augustine on this possession.
You know, Cole, it has, but this is a St. Aug defense that the Coffee ran that exact play in the first half, and I think it went for 60 yards. They lost contain, and whoop, I think it might have been for 6, same play. And St. Aug's made the adjustments.
Twin safeties back for St. Augustine. Marquise Sams. And he'll let this one bounce. And this one goes down between the hash marks to the 25-yard line. Trenton Jones is back there as well and kind of got caught in between.
Cole, you know you're having a good day on offense when the first time you punt is in the fourth quarter. I mean, Coffee hasn't had to send that unit out at all today until just then.
It's a 50-yard punt, no return.
It's not a bad day as a punter. 1 for 50. Like, that's one of those ones where you tell your boys to go check out my stats today, fellas.
10-17 to play in the ball game. St. Aug down by 13. The Yellow Jackets trying to win back-to-back games. And here's a long ball down the near side, and it's Miles Simmons who's got it deep into Coffee territory, pushed down, and what a play dialed up on first down by the Yellow Jackets.
Fantastic play. What they did out here is they faked a little bubble screen. You know, they faked like they were going to block, and instead he left.
Now they'll operate from the 30-yard line. Lachlan Hewlett in the pistol. Quick throw to the far side. Caught by Trenton Jones. And Jones, moving to the inside, is down to the 23. Tried to get him involved. You can see how they like to feature him in the short spaces with his quickness. It's a 7-yard gain on first down. Now Lyons running left, has the first down to the 15. that in the fourth quarter, to have that kind of hole and that kind of push from your offensive line bodes well for St. Augustine.
And you see the change in momentum. The change in tempo. This Jacket offense is moving fast. They want to get things going.
Lyons again spurts through, down to the 10-yard line. He ran into a wall, kept his legs moving. Nobody got an arm on him, and he's down inside the 10.
Lyons just tucked himself right behind his offensive line, waited for a little gap to go, and pop through.
Lyons again. This time, they wrap him up. Larry Daniel, Coffee, Mike linebacker, in to make the play. Helmet came off of Rashawn Taylor, the defensive tackle for Coffee, so they have to put in a backup. I think it was Omar Butler who sent it there. And so now on 3rd down and 5. Runner pass here for St. Augustine. Hewlett dropped the snap, picked it back up, and then tried to get it to Ivan Collins. Couldn't haul it in, and you've got to go for it here on 4th down.
Here's a young quarterback who tries to make something out of nothing. Puts a nice ball on his tight end, who released him to the flat, a little naked route. Just couldn't seem to hold on to it.
It's Brandon James.
He looks like he could still return a punt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying I wouldn't want to tackle him right now.
4th and 5 from the 10. The line to make just inside the 6. And now whistles blow and flags fly. But there was a timeout called first, it appears, by Coffee. And the St. Augustine players look pretty upset about it. I think they had a matchup that they liked.
No, they didn't have a matchup. What they had was an offensive lineman who jumped off sides. I mean, he actually moved before the ball, like right before the timeout was called, or right as or after. So they were all thinking they were going to have to back up 5 and it'd be 4th and 10. And so it was one of those things where they are pulling their Neo from the Matrix move again all night long, dodging these little bullets that could hurt them. And it's keeping them in the game right now.
Time is becoming a factor in this one with 8:32 to play in the ball game. 27-14. Missed extra point has opened up the possibility for St. Aug, if they can score and get the ball back, we can have an interesting finish in this one. We've had some crazy finishes already in the Georgia-Florida Border Classic.
This is what high school football is all about, Cole. I mean, Georgia versus Florida, St. Aug versus Coffee. It's fun. This is exciting. I mean, you pay for the whole seat, but you're only going to use the edge, if at all, because you're going to be standing up, because this is exciting. I haven't sat down the whole game, Cole.
Here we go, 4th and 5. Hewlett throwing it back. Simmons can throw, but he won't get the chance. Or will he? Back to Hewlett. Now Hewlett will throw to the end zone. Incomplete. I think that was an illegal forward pass. I think it was the second forward pass. The first throw back from throwback to Hewlett, I think, was a forward pass. There it is, illegal forward pass. And illegal man downfield. So, that will give the ball back to Coffee with an opportunity to salt this game, maybe not all the way away, but a touchdown drive here would certainly make things difficult, or a long extended drive, which we haven't really seen much of so far today. They've been pretty quick drives, even with the ground game.
You know, this Coffee offense has been brewing up all day long. It's a slow steep, Cole. They're steeping it slow. They want it to be strong. They're built for this. They're going to add a little milk to it this drive. They're going to hope to take maybe 4 to 6 minutes off the clock, and they are built to do it because they're just going to grind and grind and grind.
Antoine Mcduffie, who has been the cream of the crop so far, running the football.
He has risen to the top, Cole, in ways that just have been fun to watch.
And there is a Coffee player down. Trainer's out to take a look at it. Is that McDuffie?
I think that's McDuffie down. You can see the concern on the big fellas up front for Coffee, looking at their star.
There he is. Yep, it is McDuffie.
Gets up and walks off under his own power. That is always a good thing for a mom and a fan to watch. You know, that's a good thing. You never want to see the cart come out for anybody. So, you know, McDuff, take a play off, get a sip, come on back.
Well, that will also mean Tyrese Woodgett will have to carry more of the load. We've not seen Fred Brown so far in this game. The bowling ball of a running back. So second down at 9. And it's Woodgett shifting in behind the quarterback, Maurice Hansley. Pressure comes, throw, it is caught. First down, Coffee. They went down the seam to Brady Shook, the H-back. First time he's been targeted, and it works here in the fourth quarter.
You know, just when you think you know exactly what Coffee's going to do and run the ball, they throw it. It's so confusing of a game. These defensive coordinators on both sides have done a great job making adjustments, but Coffee, great play selection, great play call.
Hensley gives it to Woodgett. Ran into a pile of maroon shirts. Found only a couple of yards. Clock continues to be the ally of the Coffee Trojans. Yellow Jackets looking for another turnover here. Coffee being very deliberate offensively here. Might go not in a rush at all to get these plays signaled in with the play clock down to 10 now. Hansley to Woodgett up the middle, riding Sean Harvey on his back, and going to be close to a first down. Well, Sean Harvey and Drake Lusk feel like they've been involved in almost every tackle by St. Augustine here in this ballgame.
They are critical for this Jacket defense to be successful. These two guys are good football players. They know how to tackle, they know how to run, they know how to hit, and they are everywhere. It's almost kind of eerie in a way because it seems like we're always saying their names.
The other guy who's been very active is Pablo Rivera from the safety position. They have been the standouts on defense for St. Augustine in this game. Up the middle, Woodgett again. Has the first down inside the 40. And now as the clock ticks down towards 6 minutes, another player down, Jimmy Wheeler, sophomore free safety for St. Augustine, is on the deck. So take a look at Woodgett. This will be a time to take the final hydration break of the ball game. Hydration break brought to you by Body Armor. 6:03 to play. Trojans in front. Well, Jimmy Wheeler was down for quite some time as we were away. You could see him giving the thumbs up. He was strapped to the backboard and did look like he was hit in the back. So taking all precautions. Parents were out, family members out on the field as well. But the good news is he's able to give the thumbs up as he's carted off. Once you bring the backboard out, the stretcher out, you're going to use it. And so we'll keep an eye on how things are going with Jimmy Wheeler. And also, of course, keep an eye on this game with 6:03 to play in the ball game. And Coffee leading 27-14. Wheeler has been one of the key performers on this St. Augustine defense. Coffee with the football, 1st and 10 at the 38. McDuffie up the middle and lunges forward inside the 35 to about the 32. Joe, you don't want to speculate at all, but you saw the family members out on the field and certainly look of concern on their faces.
You know, Cole, I'm not a doctor. I know that football's a violent sport, and as we get bigger and stronger, especially in as the kids are younger, getting bigger and stronger, collisions are happening, injuries are going to happen. But, you know, looking down from above with the binoculars at Mom and Dad, they didn't look too concerned. But I'm not a doctor.
Certainly not panicked. So
not panicked
hope
at
that's
all.
a good sign.
And we do.
Here's McDuffie. Dashing and diving and dodging his way to the 27-yard line, and another first down as we near the 5-minute mark here in the fourth quarter of a game that included a 2-hour weather delay. Our final game that was scheduled to kick off at 7:30, Richmond Hill against Baker County, still to come. We'll stay with you here on News4Jax.com and News4Jax Plus and streaming.
Cole, I'm just an average Joe. And like the cuts that Antoine Mcduffie is making, he is nothing average at all. Like, there's nothing average about this kid. He has the entire package. We've seen him run tough. We've seen him do jump cuts. It's fantastic.
First and 10 from the 27. McDuffie again. He was banged up a little bit early, left the ball game, but has come back and looks to be back at full speed.
Like, even on this run, McDuffie comes to the line of scrimmage. He does a little hezzy move. He slows down, pitter, patter, pitter, patter, patter, and then accelerates and gains, 6 yards?
The clock continues to move closer to the 4-minute mark. Points really not as important for Coffee here as possession is. Now they're going to throw a wide open end zone. Caught for the touchdown. Keshad Turner. Everybody looking for the run. Hansley throws it, and that will just about do it. Coffee now up 33-14.
You know, Cole, we've been talking all day about what a great defender Rivera is. But one of the things about bringing your safety up and run support is that you give up deep plays. And there's number one for St. Aug, who's made so many great plays on the run game. They just slipped in a little defender behind him.
Well, in addition to this being a impending Coffee victory, unless something dramatic and remarkable happens here over the last 4 minutes and 2 seconds, as the extra point is up and good to make it a 20-point lead for Coffee. This also means that Georgia will take a 4-2 lead with one game to play, and it will give the Peach State the edge in this Georgia-Florida Border Classic, for those of you keeping track of that sort of thing.
There are a lot of. I'm keeping track of it personally. I want to know who's better, and I want to be able to have documentation and footnote it and say this is why I believe Georgia's better at football. This is why I believe Florida's better at football. And now we can footnote it and document the Border Classic right here. We can say here's the proof.
Right. You're the perfect guy to have in the booth here. You played in the NFL for a team in Florida and for a team in Georgia. You've lived in Jacksonville. You've lived in the Atlanta area. You've seen it from both sides.
It's like I'm supposed to be here doing this. I know Georgia football. I know Florida football. And listen, both of it is so good. There's great coaches. There's great kids. And no matter where you are in Georgia or Florida, the best thing is it's fun to watch. It's exciting because these kids are playing their hearts out every single day.
And this kick taken by St. Augustine, Marquise Sams. And he'll have it from the 30-yard line with 3:55 to play here in the fourth quarter of our second of 3 games today.
You know, Cole, people in the NFL, like in the NFL locker room, it always goes back and forth. Who has the better, high school football? Which high school football is the best? And the guys from Texas always try to talk a lot of smack. They're like, no, in Texas, we're the best. That's what we do. We play Friday Night Lights, the whole thing. But honestly, Florida and Georgia are right up there, if not in front of you, Texas, because this is some high-quality football we're watching. We're seeing great plays, great hits, great tackles, wonderful fundamentals. I mean, fantastic coachings. We've got storylines. We've had Fred Savage come up in the conversation. It can't get any better.
Here is Lyons running up the middle. No gain there. Well, and talk about playing in a great setting here at Glenn County Stadium. They put this artificial turf field in. It has been able to, as a result, host this event, 7 games over the course of 3 days, 14 teams from Florida and Georgia. And without the artificial surface, no way this thing happens, and especially with the rain. And a near interception thrown on the near side. Jaden Hancock, the sophomore, was thinking pick 6.
He really was, and of course, St. Augustine again dodges another little bullet. Great read here. You know, Hewitt rolls out, makes a cross-body throw, boom, and almost.
Tried to get it to the sophomore, Carl Jenkins.
That might have caused the cup to overflow if they would have got that pick six. It might have.
Little end around. Get it to Trenton Jones. Grabbed by the jersey and rolls forward to the 35.
I believe in the first half that was a touchdown for St. Augustine when they ran that little end around. And again, we see these coaches. This is the quality football we have in Florida and Georgia. Coaches that can make mid-game adjustments. What you beat me with in the first half, you're not going to beat me with in the second half. This is really good football, y'all.
By the way, Isaiah Johnson on the tackle there, the sophomore second-string safety, making a first-string kind of play. Hewlett's throw, incomplete on fourth down, and that will turn the ball over to Coffee with 2:44 to play. And maybe not quite time for the victory formation, but getting close.
You know, that's the greatest play in football. Little victory, take a knee, chillax, you're done. No, I think we're going to see a couple run plays. Things are going to get run out a little bit. So,
Coffee had a 14-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. It looked like that would be all she wrote, but St. Augustine made a game of it. Got back into this thing, but just too much Coffee on the ground game in particular. The offensive line clearing the way for McDuffie to run. And St. Aug just couldn't get enough going offensively here in this one. Give it to Woodgett. And he breaks free. He'll have 8 yards to the 27-yard line. And that clock will continue to run down inside 2.5 minutes to play in the ball game. Woodgett has been very good. McDuffie has been tremendous running the football for Coffee. Next up for Coffee, they'll take on Salem. It will have been nearly a month into the season before they get a home game. So they've done their damage on the road so far, or a neutral site game like this one. And for St. Augustine, they're at Menendez, followed by a road game at Bartram, then a trip to Matanzas. So 3 straight road games coming up for the Yellow Jackets after this one. Running it up into the line.
You know, Cole, for these two coaches, this game, you know, even though St. Augustine is probably going to come up a little bit short and Coffee put on a great performance, they're going to learn. They've learned more about their team in this 4-quarter game with the 2-hour rain delay than they could possibly have ever wanted. They have information that they can use now going forward. How the kids respond to adversity, how they run during bad weather, how they handle losing or winning or big plays or momentum swings. These coaches are really, you know, I'm sure they're both enjoying. They're going to enjoy the results of this game.
Even probably Mike Coe more a little bit.
He's going to enjoy a little bit more than Brian Braddock, but Brian Braddock knows, and we've talked to him. He knows he has a young team. He has a team that is sophomore heavy. He has a team that's trying to find their identity and who they are. Young quarterback, young running back, young offensive line. He knows that this is building them and it's going to make them stronger in the long run. But of course, I know Coach Braddock, he would have loved to see the scoreboard a little bit different because that drive home to St. Augustine is going to be a little bit longer.
This should be the last snap of the ball game, barring a penalty or somebody going out of bounds. And we will get neither here. So that will be the last snap of the ball game. And Coffee will emerge from this matchup in the Georgia-Florida Border Classic with a 34-14 victory over St. Augustine. Brian Braddock's team will fall to 1-2. Mike Coe's team improves to 2-1 on the season. And Georgia takes a 4-2 lead in the battle of these two states.